and welcome to the Bible for Worship at St. Paul Lutheran Church on this 23rd Sunday after Pentecost, when our scripture reading is the 98th Psalm. Oh, sing to the Lord a new song, for God has done marvelous things. God's right hand and holy arm have gotten the victory. The Lord has made known the victory and has revealed divine vindication in the sight of the nations. The Lord has remembered steadfast love and faithfulness to the house of Israel. All the ends of the earth have seen the victory of our God. Make a joyful noise to the Lord, all the earth. Break forth into joyous song and sing praises. Sing praises to the Lord with the lyre and the sound of melody, with trumpets and the sound of the horn. Make a joyful noise before the King, the Lord. Let the sea roar and all that fills it, the world and those who live in it. Let the floods clap their hands. Let the hills sing together for joy at the presence of the Lord, who is come to judge the earth. The Lord will judge the world with righteousness and the peoples with equity. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. What a stupendous hymn of celebration is this psalm. Oh, sing to the Lord a new song. And yet we hear about such familiar things: God's victory, God's vindication, God's steadfast love for Israel. And so perhaps this is, oh, sing to the Lord a renewed song. Not entirely new, but renewed, because God's righteousness, God's victory, God's steadfast love are always renewed for Israel, for all of God's people and creation. This might also suggest that when we read in the prophets Jeremiah and Ezekiel about God having a new covenant, that perhaps that too is more like renewed, because the covenant is in view with this celebratory hymn of Psalms 98. The covenant is in view because when we look to the end of the psalm, where it says that the Lord comes, the Lord will judge the world, this is an enthronement of God as ruler. The word here to judge in its Hebrew is like the judges of the period of Israel's life before there were kings. These were not primarily judicial figures who interpreted the law or applied it, but these were rather people who were raised up to lead God's people as any particular situation, emergency or ongoing, might require. And here it says that God is coming to judge or to rule the earth, to rule with righteousness and with integrity. You can imagine in ancient Israel, even as we might think today, that to hear that one comes to rule with righteousness and integrity is ample reason for joy and celebration. It's similar to the way that we and the Christian community celebrate a kind of new resurrection every Easter. It's the same resurrection, and yet we sing a renewed song on Easter for resurrection, at Christmas because of the Nativity, celebrating over and over again and making real again what God has done for God's people and for all humanity and creation. And what a picture of celebration this psalm gives. In verse 1, it says, God works wonders. Similar perhaps to the creation having that in view. and a holy victory over chaos, which after all is what creation was, setting chaos in order. That is the wonder of God, to take complete chaos and make order out of it that supports life and joy and fullness. And so in verses 2 and 3, there are four different aspects of God's work here. It is God's rescue. It is God's justice. It is God's mercy. And it is God's faithfulness to the creation, not to let chaos reign, but once again to win the victory over chaos so that God rules with righteousness and with integrity. And in response to that announcement about what God is doing in these four different ways of rescue, justice, mercy, and faithfulness, there are four virtual outbursts of celebration with the voice, with the lyre, with the trumpet, and with horns. And finally, in verses 7 and 8, all of nature is called into the celebration. Let the sea and the world, let the floods and the mountains all join in this celebration of renewal, realizing that it is God who comes to set the world straight. Ancient Israel celebrated at its New Year festival every year. We celebrate it as well. And the celebration is one of sheer joy. God bless.